I think stopping was the right thing to do. That leg of mine was, I think, just cramping up because the muscle wouldn't relax for like 10, 12 miles. And I don't know if that could cause any damage or anything, but it certainly hurt like the dickens. But stopping, massaging it out a little bit, letting it relax overnight. Got up this morning, it was fine. So, and I've been going up this hill for a while, and about a mile of hill, and still doing just fine. So I'll take it. I don't know what happened or what wrong direction I pushed things, or who knows. But I'm certainly glad that's not a thing that is with me this morning, because I was kind of concerned about that and making some miles. The cold front that guy was talking about, I think, came in. I felt it chilling down and getting a little damp, and when I looked out, the clouds had settled down into the trees. So I don't know if that's going to turn into rain. It could. Or if the sun will come out and burn those off. I'm obviously hoping for the latter, because I'd rather just hike than dodge raindrops. But yeah, very, very happy that I have my legs back again, because that was problematic. That blister's still there, or at least I drained it last night, and then we'll see how it goes today. If I need to, I'll thread it. But I still can't explain that one. I'm just not a blister guy, so there's something funky going on. But I'm not gonna have to worry about overheating right now. It is chilly. I'm at one of the last spots for a little while for filling up my water. There was another one farther down the hill, but I wanted to go up the hill and not carry all this water, so I'm going to fill up now. I don't think there's a lot of water for another 15 miles or so. So, get a good fill up and go. I spoke to another hiker, actually I've spoken to multiple now, who've talked about the storm that's coming in tonight. Apparently this wind that's sweeping in is the cold front. It's coming in this afternoon. It's going to get really windy, and then tonight, like after 11 or something, it's supposed to start pouring rain. and then there'll be showers tomorrow. So I'm going to make it as far as I can, and hopefully it stays till later to start raining so that I can get everything set up while it's dry, and then ride out the storm overnight. And hopefully it's not coming down too hard in the morning, so I'm not hiking in the downpour. But I guess worst case scenario, if it's really bad, there's Fish Lake Resort, I think, so that'll probably be something like 9 miles past where I'm planning on camping tonight, and then I could always go in there, get some breakfast, and maybe, hide out from the rain a little bit, depending on how bad it is. There's also a possibility of snow at Crater Lake. So definitely getting some weather. The nice part is the fire, the Gopher Lake fire, this should do wonders for that. So you can sometimes solve one problem with another. Boy, the wind's really starting to pick up now. Luckily, it's high up in the trees, so I think I'll be okay with the wind tonight, but it started to get chilly and overcast in a hurry. So I'm hoping my campsite that I wanted to get to is 5.2 miles away, so I'm hoping I can make it there before it decides it wants to rain on me, because I'd much rather set up when it's dry and hide in my tent when it's raining. But this is a pretty trail. It's soft dirt going through the middle of the trees. If it were hot out, it'd be nice and shaded. But really nice, easy trail to walk, which was good today because I wasn't feeling so great today. I think just hitting Oregon and starting that. PCT hikers get they call the NorCal blues, where they've gone through all of this in California and the Sierras, and then they reach NorCal and they're still in California, right? And so they get the blues. Now, I was never concerned about that because NorCal is my old stomping ground, so everything was like, ooh, that's familiar, I remember that, so I wasn't concerned about that. But Oregon's kind of that way for me, where I'm like, going through Oregon, and it's just lots of trees, and they're pretty, but it just kind of, okay, California's done, and I'm still doing this thing. So I think there's a little bit of that. I talked to a couple other hikers that it seemed like there was a similar thing going on there, like, oh, I'm not feeling it right now, but feeling much better at the end of the day than I was at the beginning. So sometimes you just gotta walk it off. In this case, literally. Well, I don't think I beat the rain. It started misting down. Thus far, it's really light, which is fine with me. I checked, and there's a dry water source up ahead, and someone commented that there were some tent sites next to it. It's kind of tough in this shrubbery-filled forest to just make your own tent site. So if I push fast, I can get there in less than an hour. So I think that's where I'll stop instead of trying to make it to the original campsite, just because it doesn't look like time's on my side here. I got to that site, and the creek was dry. Maybe not for long, but there were a couple good sites next to it, and there was a little bit of tree cover. You'll still get wet, as you can hear, but it was good for when I was setting up. It gave me a little bit of cover so that everything didn't get so soaked. But I'm here, set up, got out of my wet clothes. Unfortunately, there was enough rain that it started getting my pants wet from hitting brush and stuff like that. And so I'm into my dry sleep clothes and still need to eat, but at least I'm getting warm for now and can go to sleep. So I don't know how hard it's going to pour tonight. I heard it's going to be pretty good rain all night, I guess. It'd be nice if it were not doing this in the morning, but we'll see. I waited till about 7 to see if maybe some of the rain would stop, but it seems pretty steady, so I'm going to be out in it. The plan is, I looked ahead on the map to kind of see what my options were, because my hands, unfortunately, are going to be freezing. I don't have my gloves with the shells, because I had sent those back to try to drop some weight in the Sierras. So at this point, I'm just going to have, my hands are already cold, but once they get out in this freezing rain, they're going to start getting numb. So that I'm not looking forward to. But the good part is I'm 7.7 miles away from Highway 140. And if I hang a left, there's another 1.5 miles or 1 mile, something like that, 1.5, into Fish Lake Resort. And there is a cafe there. So my plan is I'll go forward to there and either get some late breakfast or maybe they serve that all day, or lunch or whatever, and hot coffee, and see, maybe I'll hang out there for a few hours and see if I can wait out some of the rain or at least warm up. So that's kind of my plan for now, which I like the sound of that plan. A place to go get warm and get out of the rain for a bit. But for now, it's time to go put on cold, wet clothes and go out in the rain. Ew. Somehow a pool of water got in and was underneath my pad. You know, actually it's probably from the condensation in the tent, and the rain's been knocking it down all night, so that's a possibility too, that it's all soaked in from that. But it seems like more than that. Wow, I'll be able to sop some of this up before I load my tent up. That's quite a bit of water. Now to load this wet thing up. Finally all loaded up. The tent is a sopping dirty mess. I think it weighs 5 times what it normally weighs because the water sticks to it and couldn't shake it off. But ready to go. Now I'm going to find out whether my feet are going to freeze more from the water coming on them or my hands. Probably my hands, because the feet at least have some insulation. But focus on the hot coffee. Yeah. I love my trekking poles, and they're great for balance and going up hills, but my fingers were starting to get numb to the point where they were not working so well. So I stowed my trekking poles and put my hands in my raincoat pockets, and that seems to help some. The rain's picked up, so I'm glad it let up a little bit while I was stowing my gear. But apparently I'm following the Red Cinder Road here because it's kind of cool looking in the rocks with the black and red. I finally reached the turnoff. I guess there's a trail that goes to Fish Lake Resort, so you don't have to road walk, which is probably good. The Highway 140 is only a quarter mile past that turnoff there, but I'm making a left here and got 2 miles, I guess, so looks like it's a nice trail, which is good. My hands are freezing. I can't seem to warm them up, so I really hope they have a nice warm cafe with coffee and whatever else. But the rain hasn't let up, and at least it's not windy. But I'm looking forward to getting there and warming up some. Whew. Now I'm in Medford. I and 3 other PCT hikers fled to that Fish Lake Resort and sat next to the wood stove and tried to have our fingers work again. I could barely move them by the time I got there, and the guy that greeted me at the door was laughing because it took me a few minutes to actually get my pack off because I couldn't make my fingers press the latch to unhook my hip belt. And it took a probably good hour and a half before my fingers felt thawed out. I did get some good breakfast and got to get warm, but I looked at the weather forecast and it was set for freezing rain and then snow into Crater Lake. And so I would be heading northward into snow, and I didn't have my gloves. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to go hiking out into this, especially if my rain jacket doesn't seem to be repelling. Rain pants and rain jacket don't seem to be repelling, which doesn't surprise me. They've been out here and dirty and everything for over 5 months. So I thought, I'm going into Medford. A guy, he said that he was going to, this was it. The weather's turned, he's done, he's quitting the trail, and he'll come back out later. So his wife was coming to pick him up, and he lives near Portland, so I hitched a ride with him into Medford, and I am in a hotel here trying to dry my stuff out. And the tent, that one, I was going to put it outside, but it's been raining so much over the past couple days that I can't dry it out in the sun. So I ended up using the hairdryer in the bathroom to dry it out as best I could, and dried out my Thermarest pad and everything else that way too. So I keep opening the door to let some of the moisture go out. But I'm starting to get things dry. Fortunately, there is an REI here, so I went and I picked up some extra supplies. I got some waterproof gloves, so I can get out there. The gloves, those possum down ones I have aren't going to work for this. So I got some gloves. I got a little fleece that they had there, a little polyester fleece that I can wear at night, and I got one more smart wool base layer that I could put under my shirt because I was starting to freeze because of just the water on my jacket, and I needed some more warmth in there. So I did that, and I also got some of the chemical to reapply to the DWR, basically to reapply to my rain pants and rain jacket. So I've washed those out and they're drip drying. I may hair dryer them later too, but they're drip drying in the bathroom, and when they're dry I'm going to spray them with the DWR, so hopefully they can get a little bit better water repelling action, because rain is supposed to be not likely tomorrow, and so my plan was to go out then unless I see the weather change and it's really bad. But
Still plan on going out. It looks like I'll have some good days of cold, but no rain or snow. And that's the important part. So I'd still like to try to get as many days as I can, but I was not ready to go out into that cold. My gear just wasn't right for it. And I would have ended up with some fingers in a bad way. And my tent was a mess. I shook it out in the parking lot, and it was still wet. And then it started raining again. I thought maybe I might have a little bit of time to dry it out outside, but I didn't. So the poor cleaner, he came in and helped me. I dropped way too much dirt on the bathroom floor, and he was really cool about sweeping it up. I was going to sweep it up myself, but he's like, no, I'll do it. So I gave him a tip because what a mess. But good to get some more gear. I got some new socks because mine have holes in them now. And I also got some blister bandages. I don't know what it is about Oregon that it doesn't agree with me, but 2 blisters. And I got one on my toe, so I'm just kind of going to bring some of that stuff, and hopefully the blisters are done. I don't know what's causing them. The shoes, the old sock, I really don't know. So, but that's a thing. So, gonna finish up my chores today, and then I'll have to figure out a way to get back out to Fish Lake Resort so that I can get back on the trail. Got a lift back out to the trail. I couldn't find a Trail Angel or Mass Transit or anything else, so just had to take a lift, a YFT, and got dropped off at Highway 140. Got to backtrack a little bit here because the side trail I took to Fish Lake Resort was a 1/4 mile back, so I need to hike in a 1/4 mile to hit that piece of the trail that I missed, and then double back. But that's still only a 1/2 mile, whereas it's 2 miles from Fish Lake Resort back to the trail, so that makes more sense to me. The weather's a little overcast and got a little rain on the way up, but right now it's just cool. And I have a new base layer here. I got a Smart Wool base layer under my shirt, so that'll help keep me warm. And if it rains, I have my new freshly treated rain gear. So I treated those with DWR yesterday, and they're all ready to go. So if I start getting rain today, I can put those on and they should be more effective, and I should be more warm. So I have all that. Pair of gloves, and I even got some hand warmers to put in my gloves in case it gets really cold. But could be scattered showers today, and the next rain's supposed to be 3 days from now. And my goal is to make it to Diamond Lake, past Crater Lake, and get to the resort there. Water on everything. The bushes are wet, but yeah, back out on the trail and hoping to make some good time. Well, that was dumb. I just realized I punched my trekking poles into the ground and then left them there at the highway. So guess it's good I have to go back anyway, and I doubt anyone's gonna come along and take them, but I'd rather not have them next to the road. So I better get back there quickly and grab my trekking poles. They're kind of critical to what I do, especially with my tent. Well, good, they're here. Now let's go do the trail for real. I heard something crashing through the woods, and I didn't know what it was, but I thought maybe it's pine cones, and it turns out it was. I don't know if the squirrels are chewing them down en masse or if they're just falling on their own right now, but I had one come down about 6 feet from me. So I'm getting out of that little grove there where they seem to be falling down, but you could hear it whistling through the air and just smack into the ground. So I wouldn't want to get hit in the head with one of those. I have a feeling I'd wake up 3 days from now or something. Man, those things are big and gnarly, and they're high up. Wow. Well, the sun is flirting with coming out. It shines for a little bit and then hides behind the clouds. It's a little chilly. I am really glad that I went and got some cold weather gear at REI because it's a little chilly right now, but it's supposed to get down to like 35 or colder each night. So any extra warmth I have there will come in handy. But right now the weather is cooperating and the trail couldn't be nicer. It's not overgrown with brush or anything, and it's pretty soft. I've been going uphill for quite some time, but I think I'm almost at the end of that. But yeah, really nice trail. I just met another Nobo hiker, and he's late like me. But he and his friend seem to think that they're going to reach the border this year. I guess they're gonna finish Oregon and then skip some towns or something in Washington and try to get up there. That still seems a little sketchy to me because you're jumping right into the middle of October still. But that's what's super important to them, to reach the border. It's still skipped a big section of trail, so it's not a through hike, but I can see why they'd want to cross the border and come back and do the rest later, or not. Doesn't really matter what you want to do. But the guy's GPS wasn't working for him, so I gave him a little tech support, and we'll see if that works out for him. But it is starting to get cold. The wind's picking up a little bit. The sun's coming out, but it's not enough. I feel like I'm in the Costco freezer or something, because it's just kind of chilly. So I'm glad I have this base layer, but I may get out my gloves, my new gloves, and put those on here in a couple minutes to try to get my fingers warm, because they're starting to hurt, and that's not good. Don't want to be cold. Started pouring rain there for a little bit, so I got my rain gear on, and the sun came out, and now it's overcast again, so scattered showers like the weatherman said. I hope it doesn't scatter through the night. I have to keep my tent dry if possible, and keep on going. I've been hiking with a guy, and it's kind of nice to have someone to chat with while I'm going through. Just about to my campsite, and it's a little foggier than I would have liked, which means moist quilt, but at least it's not raining, and the wind seems to be not too bad right here, so that could be pretty good. And Guthook said there might be cell reception here, so I'm hoping I get to call my girlfriend, but we shall see. Man, it got cold last night. The weather report said it was going to be 35. My Garmin said 36. And with the water vapor, it felt like 25. But I stayed relatively warm. The hand warmers were a brilliant idea, because My hands often get cold, even in because they get to the side of the quilt or something and get cold. So being able to put those in my jacket pocket, and I had 3 layers on, so having that fleece to go over my down jacket was nice. So I definitely needed those 3 layers. And I wore my rain pants. Luckily they weren't wet, so I got an extra layer for my legs that way. So all in all, stayed relatively warm, and was able to keep my hands warm by putting them in my fleece pocket with those hand warmers. So that was pretty good. The clouds are still out this morning, along with a nice little chilly breeze. I know it's cool when I'm going uphill with multiple layers on and I'm not sweating. Just treading water, basically, trying to keep from getting colder. Well, I'm going down a little bit, but I think I'm going to stay about this elevation, so hopefully the sun comes out today, like the weatherman said, and starts to burn a little bit of this off, which would be nice. I'm planning on going to Mazama Village today. I was going to camp ahead of it and then go through the next segment, but I think I'll just try to go down to Mazama Village, and which is a campground that is right at Crater Lake. So it's not right at Crater Lake, but it's pretty Crater Lake adjacent. So I thought that's just 29 miles away, so I thought that would be a good goal for the day, and I can go camp in a campground. And there is that resort at Crater Lake. If I get there early enough, maybe I could walk over there and get some food, because they have a restaurant. I hear it's pricey, but it might be worth it, and I could check out Crater Lake that way. The Crater Lake alternate is what a lot of people take that come out on the trail, and it goes above Crater Lake along the ridge line, and you get an excellent view of Crater Lake the entire time. So that's great, but you're not hiking the PCT. So I'm going to hike the PCT, which goes around and away from Crater Lake. And so the only way I'll be able to see Crater Lake is if I backtrack or walk over to it on a side trail, which is of course not a quarter mile, but miles. So I guess it depends on if there's fog cover and everything, you know, what would my view of Crater Lake be, whether I'm willing to go do that right now. But the nice part about taking the PCT is it stays around 5,500 feet. Whereas if you take the alternate, it goes up to nearly 8,000 feet. So I guarantee you that'd be cold, and there might still be snow up there too. But it doesn't matter either way. I'm going to take the PCT. I came out here to hike that, so I'm going to stick on the PCT. The fog / clouds has cleared out. Maybe because I've gone downhill, or maybe it's just burning off, but I will take it. I put on my pack rain cover just to keep all of the mist and stuff, because my pants were getting soaked just from the mist, so I wanted to keep it off the rest of my stuff on my pack and keep my pack a little bit dry. And glad to have that rain cover. Certainly a whole bunch better than the Z-Packs one. I've got 20.4 miles to make it to Mazama Village, and I can do that. I'd like to make it faster than dark, and so I'm trying to hurry up here, but I can make it today, no problem. I made 20 miles after noon yesterday, so I can do that today. But I am excited to get down there, get away from Crater Lake. It's about a week from now, it's gonna have sub-freezing temperatures. So I'm happy to be away from that. I just hope the rest of Oregon doesn't follow suit, because things change when you start getting freezing temperatures. Your water freezes and you gotta do everything. I've been putting my stuff in my quilt anyway, and keeping it with me just in case it gets colder. When it starts getting down to mid-30s, I do that just because I don't want to have some kind of surprise freeze overnight and ruin my filter or my contact lenses or something like that. So I'll do that regardless, but don't need the cold anyway. But I'm excited that it looks like it's clearing up a little bit. Tomorrow's supposed to be a clear sunny day, which I'm really hoping for, because I want to do some good miles tomorrow and probably make it to Diamond Lake Lodge where my resupply is. And someone said that they have a pizza parlor there, so pizza is there too, so that's all good stuff. The sun finally came out. I hope it stays out. It looks pretty good a couple directions. Took off my rain gear and I'm getting a chance to dry out and dry some of my towel out on the back of my pack. I'm also in the section that's adjacent to the fire closure, and in fact I just hit the trail there's one trail that leads into where the fire is that's closed, the Gopher Fire, and I don't really see any evidence of it. I wasn't too concerned with all the rain and everything that's occurred. And the sky looks pretty blue over there, so I don't see a whole bunch of smoke or anything, so looks pretty good. Regardless, I'll be away from it and probably another couple miles, so it'll be in my rearview mirror soon. Took me a little longer than I thought it would, because there was a lot more uphill than I was planning. And at this point I'm 3.25 miles from Highway 62, which is where I'd turn and walk into Mazama Village and all the stuff there. But I don't want to get there after dark, and it's already almost 6. So that'd put me there because it's a 1 mile road walk. And apparently the PCT spaces that they had, the permanent ones, are not available. So they put PCT hikers here, there, and everywhere, and apparently a lot of hikers have had some problems with it. So it sounds kind of like it's a mess down there. And I thought, well, it's one thing to deal with a mess during the day. It's another when you're coming in at night trying to figure things out. So it makes sense to find a spot up here. There are no campsites on Gut Hook, but some people have said that there are some decent campsites all the way up until 1 mile from the Highway 62. And ones before this I couldn't stay at because the whole area was burned, and all of the quote-unquote official tent sites were in those burn areas, and that's asking for trouble. If you try to sleep in a burned area, you'll end up with a burned tree in the middle of your tent in the middle of the night. So what I'm doing is looking around for tent sites now. I'm kind of going to go up to this junction. It looks like it might be flatter, and see if I can find something around there. That'd put me around 2 miles from the highway that I could knock out in the morning, and maybe the restaurant there I could go have breakfast, which is even better than dinner.
I finally found a spot along the side of the trail that had a open flat area. Got in, and it chilled down really quickly, and I lost a lot of body heat. I don't know if it was sweat or whatever, but I could not get warm and started shivering, and my teeth were chattering. I finally had to just really quickly set up my sleep pad and quilt and just climb underneath it until I got somewhat warm again, so that I could finish doing my tasks before bed. And then I got into my sleep clothes and loaded up and everything, so I'm somewhat warm now. My hands are still trying to warm up, but boy, oh boy, that was not fun. Oh, I'm not looking forward to more cold nights. I think I'm over it. But my plan is I probably won't get up too early tomorrow because it's supposed to be down to 39, and the tent already has condensation forming in it, so I'll have another condensation fun thing to deal with in the morning. And my quilt's still a little bit damp from all this condensation. So it's unfortunate how quickly that gets on the tent. But tomorrow I'm going to go in and get some breakfast, because I'm feeling like hot breakfast and hot coffee would be something that is relevant to my interests, and could definitely make me feel better. But for now, I am going to try to get warm and fall asleep.